Here's what's coming up on your horizon.
3, 2, 1, ignition.
Well, when an intercontinental ballistic missile was knocked out of the sky last week in a test over the Pacific, it was a first. A technology that protects the U.S. against long-range ballistic missile attacks by destroying incoming threats while they're still in space and safely outside the Earth's atmosphere. Just the latest deterrent in a long-held defense strategy of our country of peace through strength. Today, we begin our show at a one-time Strategic Air Command base in western Oklahoma that is a Cold War relic that still protects us today, just in a different way.
We've seen kids out here that come out that have a sour look on law enforcement, and they get to come out and spend the day with us and see that, you know, we're dads, we're moms, we're brothers and sisters. You know, I think when they walk away from here, I think that they have a different outlook.
For the disabled, finding a job is often a struggle. Unemployment is high and wages often low. We'll look at the work underway to help the blind get a new view on employment.
You have to learn how to adapt to everyday life, but in a different way. It made my life a lot difficult, but I've had a good life, a real good life.
And we end our day in the rock'em sock'em world of wheelchair basketball. Stay with us for Oklahoma Horizon.
Oklahoma Horizon is made possible by Career Tech, a job for every Oklahoman and a workforce for every company. With additional support from the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food, and Forestry.
Hello everyone, thanks for joining us here on Horizon. I'm Rob McClendon. Well, when you're 16 and holding a shiny new driver's license in your hand, there's nothing so scary as a highway patrolman. Too often, this barrier grows and young adults find themselves looking on law enforcement in a distant, if not negative light. But in western Oklahoma, a technology center is working to break down those walls and connect students to law enforcement at a site that can trace its origins back to the Cold War. Austin Moore has our story.
Admittedly, it doesn't look like much, but this nondescript, long-shuttered military building has a potent past.
These men are preparing for a mission unique in military history. The bombers they man will be an airborne force that will patrol the skies for 24 hours. In their bomb bays and under their wings will be more potential destructive power than that expended in all wars fought since time began.
Though built during World War II, western Oklahoma's Clinton Sherman Air Force Base was best known for its role in the Cold War. During that tense time, this base housed squadrons of B-52 bombers, training crews to launch at a moment's notice in order to rain destruction from the sky. But today, the site has been repurposed. Its runways serve as a training ground for Oklahoma's respected law enforcement drivers training school. And for 1 week a year, this facility hosts the Cadet Lawman Academy, when 150 youth from across the state live and train with troopers.
These kids get to come out and they get taught the exact same skills that we teach troopers that are out on the road. Now obviously we don't teach them high-speed maneuvers, we don't teach them, you know, they're not driving fast, but we're teaching them the fundamentals and the basics of things that are going to keep them alive out there on the road.
Trooper Robert Francis has been volunteering his time with the Academy for 14 years. He and the other instructors teach more than just driving, gun safety, and lake patrol techniques. They are building teamwork, character, and opening relationships with the camp attendees.
You know, we instill the core values in them of honesty, integrity, and professionalism. You know, there's those things that they may not get at school or, you know, in other places, maybe at their work, that we instill in them that they carry for the rest of their lives. And on Saturday when they graduate, there's normally not a dry eye in the house, and there's not any of them that want to leave.
But to prepare for that week, a day of service occurs called Brooms and Badges, where the students and staff of Western Technology Center go elbow to elbow with troopers, working to make this facility ready for the summer.
Why don't you come up, guys?
Assistant Superintendent of Western Technology Center, Kathy Corning.
They're going to roll up their sleeves and they're going to get the elbow grease going. So there's some tire changing going on. There's some welding going on, putting up a new sign in honor of a great partner that they had at Burns Flat Schools. And we are cleaning kitchens and dishes and a little bit of everything.
I partner up with the biomed students and we go to the bathrooms and clean, because those kiddos are into seeing what kind of germs they can find, because those students are being trained to go into the medical field, and at some point they may find a cure for some of that stuff that we found in the potty.
Fellow Assistant Superintendent Penny Berry.
Brooms and Badges is all about our students have an opportunity to give back to the men and women in blue, because we support what they do out on the highways as far as keeping us good and safe. Our mission statement is educating people for success, and we want our students to know that they have an opportunity to give back to their communities, and this is how we're doing it today.
What do you think about being out here today?
I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah? Why so?
Helping people. I live to serve people.
You know, we've seen kids out here that come out that have a sour look on law enforcement, and they get to come out and spend the day with us and see that, you know, we're dads, we're moms, we're brothers and sisters. You know, we enjoy the kids, and you know, we like spending time with them and getting to know them. And you know, I think when they walk away from here, I think that they have a different outlook.
Just ask student Larissa Odom.
Most of the time you just see them like on duty, and so they're like almost not human. And so this is kind of like you relax and you talk to them, and you get to know their personalities more than just their scary police personality.
Hardly the scariest thing in a place once built for the end of the world, now striving to build a better one.
Now when we return, a new generation of law enforcement.
You're watching Oklahoma Horizon with Rob McClendon. Weekly insight into your changing world.
Well, the Highway Patrol Camp is by far not the only way law enforcement agencies are teaming up to teach the next generation of cadets. Here at the annual SkillsUSA competition at the Cox Business Center in Tulsa, students from all over the state are taking part in some of the things that officers have to do on a daily basis. Whether it's a traffic stop or a crime scene investigation, these young cadets are being judged on how effective and level-headed they can be in the field.
Just the traffic stop alone, that takes a lot of practice to get this down, and you can tell they've done it over and over and over. They know it very well. So yeah, I think that's why the City of Moore, you know, we participate in this program. I think it's great for the kids. It's good for law enforcement to interact with them and try and bring up the next group of police officers.
We spend the entire year preparing for the competition through our curriculum, and really coming out here to show our best and bring the students that are the most prepared and the best prepared to come out here and do their thing and do what they love and what their passion is for their industry that they've chosen.
Law enforcement is just one of the many industries represented at SkillsUSA, and we've got plenty of coverage from previous year's competitions on our website at okhorizon.com.
Still to come on Oklahoma Horizon, a new view on blindness. But first, working in a sighted world.
Well, Department of Labor statistics show that roughly 2/3 of working age people with disabilities remain out of the workforce. And often, it's the lack of skills training that's the difference between those with a job and those without. Slice and dice, all by feel and not by sight.
I really enjoy coming to work because everyone's very positive.
Callie Chappelle lost her sight from a retina disease, yet still works as a chef at Francis Tuttle Technology Center's Tut's Cafe.
My least favorite job in the kitchen is probably peeling potatoes. I don't really look forward to doing that, but I have to.
She's been great. She's here every day on time. One of my best employees.
Yet unemployment is high among the visually impaired. According to the National Federation of the Blind, 60% of vision impaired workers are actively unemployed. In downtown Oklahoma City, Michael Harvey teaches lessons he knows well.
I'm going to empower them by teaching them the tools.
Training other visually impaired on how to be self-sufficient.
How to get basic directions, how to problem solve. If you get stuck by a construction zone, how do you get around it?
Equipping others with transferable skills that can make them more marketable in the workforce.
One of the problems with blind people finding jobs is a lack of training. Many blind people don't have the opportunity or don't take the chance to go get the blindness skills training that they need. So therefore, they're more reliant on people than it's probably feasible for them to be as independent or as employable as they need to be.
Rob Slaughterback is one of Harvey's students and knows all too well that finding a job can be difficult.
I actually have a bachelor's in industrial engineering and a master's in business. Even with that, attended several job interviews face-to-face. They liked me, everything went great, but never would receive a phone call. And eventually, after months and months of that going on, that really starts to wear on you and you get depressed and questioning your own abilities.
Which is why Slaughterback is working with Harvey, all in an effort to be seen for more than blind.
The biggest thing is just treat them like you would any of your sighted friends. If you would hold the door open for your friends, hold the door open. If you wouldn't, don't. We're not special people. We just want to be treated like people in general.
Wait to cross Sheridan.
And while working in a sighted world can be difficult, breaking through stereotypes might be their biggest challenge.
For myself, I know I learn from making mistakes. If people stop me from making a mistake, then the next time I'm more apt to make that same mistake again.
An attitude of self-reliance that employers like Keith Hubble says inspires him every day.
It's not that hard. It's not that scary. You'd be surprised. Most people will really can really shock you on that nature. Prove something, that they can produce like everybody else. They can work like, there's no difference.
Horizon is at your fingertips. Join us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube to catch the segments you may have missed and our latest new content as it happens.
Losing your eyesight can mean a lot of difficult changes to your way of life, especially your career. But one nonprofit is working to help the legally blind adapt their skills and learn new ones to keep their prosperity and their dignity. Blaine Singletary shares this insight.
David Anderson hasn't been able to see for most of his adult life.
I was 18 years old. I was on a construction site. Nail guns hadn't been out that long, and a nail gun actually blew up in my face.
David was blinded instantly, but the reality of the situation didn't sink in until much later.
Because I asked the doctor after surgery and all that, what's going to happen to me, what's going on? I said, tell me straight. He said, you'll never see again. Because I had family people around, I said, okay. I said, where can I find an organ grinder and a monkey? You're trying to have some levity there, because how do you take something like that?
He took it the only way he could, by continuing business as usual. He found work wherever he could to support himself and his son, but other than that, David says he shut himself away from the rest of the world, kept to himself.
I wouldn't talk to anybody. I wanted to come to work, I wanted to feel, hey, I'm doing something, but I still didn't want people to know me. I didn't want them to notice, well, that's him, he's the blind guy.
And that was life as he accepted it. It would be decades before David ever found someone who didn't just want to employ him, but to help him.
I received a flyer for donating to this company for the blind. Nobody had ever told me there was another blind person in the state, ever.
David was very skeptical, but after talking with them over the phone, he took a tour of the factory and was surprised at what he found.
I was shocked, and then before I left, they asked me if I'd like to fill out an application. All those years went by, and I relied on what I could do out of my own shop to make money because nobody would hire me for any reason. The first thing they notice is your blindness. When they offered me to fill out a job application, I said, wow, really? That's the first time that, I felt like I fit in somewhere.
New View, Oklahoma is a non-profit manufacturing company who supports and employs the legally blind. Otherwise, they're just like any other manufacturer. Dennis Loney is the Vice President of Business Development and Operations.
This business is no different than any manufacturing concern. We have to buy low, sell high, do it as efficiently as possible. We have to put out quality products at a competitive price. We over-accommodate for accessibility issues for our employees to be able to do a job.
Every machine in this building is enriched with adaptive technology, meant to suit people at varying stages of blindness. From complete blindness in David Anderson's case, to partial blindness in the case of Adam Higbee.
I was actually born with a disease called optic nerve dystrophy. I could see better, but as I've gotten older, it's gotten far worse.
He took classes at Francis Tuttle Technology Center to learn precision and CNC machining, and ways that even someone with very limited vision can pursue careers in this field.
You're limited to your imagination. I mean, that's just the honest truth. But currently we do a lot of engraving and some automotive parts. We make these coasters that we've been working on, a lot of engraving on this machine.
While he learned this alternate way to do things, Adam says he honestly doesn't know if he's got it easier or harder than others.
I honestly don't know. I don't have any basis for comparison because I don't know otherwise, It's not easy. You just have to find a way to adapt.
The adaptive technology on this machine is just one example of the ways accessibility has been taken into account. Sometimes something as simple as a smartphone camera can be enough to make small text and details more visible. But for others here, it can be a bit more extensive than that.
Being blind is a learning process.
Elmer Norton is in charge of managing the orders, the stock, and raw materials at New View. He has macular degeneration, steadily losing his eyesight since high school.
You have to learn how to adapt to everyday life, but in a different way. It made my life a lot difficult, but I've had a good life, a real good life.
Thanks to adaptive technology like Magic and JAWS, he can run this whole department and easily run other computers all over New View's offices.
Cadet, Douglas Avenue, Oklahoma City, OK 73106.
2 years ago, I knew nothing about a computer. I've learned how to get to anywhere on here.
New View may be much like any other business, but it gives these visually impaired people a lot more than a job. It gives them dignity and pride. Again, Adam Higbee.
At least for me, I'm raising a 7-year-old son almost by myself, and to show him, hey, that my dad's doing this with the hand he's been dealt, then that means with my vision being 20/20, then I can do anything I want. You have to want something. I mean, that's just the honest truth. You have to want. And if you don't want, then you're going to get what you get. Nothing.
Want to see more stories like this? All our segments are streaming on our YouTube channel at Oklahoma Horizon TV.
Well, begun after World War II, wheelchair basketball was designed to help returning veterans suffering from paralysis. It's not a sport for the faint of heart, and one that teaches lessons on and off the court. For Tulsa's rolling roustabouts, wheeling down the court is not for the faint of heart.
It is a lot more aggressive than people think. I always tell people if they've never seen it before, you kind of describe it like bumper cars, NASCAR, and basketball combined into one.
And while everyone is in wheelchairs, there's nothing sedentary about their game.
As you see, some players are more physical than others. We actually like being knocked out of the chair sometimes. It gives you a jolt. A lot of people say that we might be a little bit of adrenaline junkies, but sometimes that's what you need to get you up and down the court on a regular basis, consistently moving as quickly as possible.
Paralyzed at 19 when he says he brought fists to a gunfight, Anthony Meadows says his injury is probably the best thing that ever happened to him.
Like I tell the kids when I talk to them, I always let them know that this was a blessing in disguise when it happened to me, because when I was walking, I was arrogant. Everything was about me. I felt like everybody owed me something. Once I got in the chair, it forced me to be humble and actually open my world to people that I would not have opened my world to had I not been paralyzed. With wheelchair basketball, it just basically opened my eyes and let me know that there is a bigger world out there than what little problems I had going on.
There's nobody on our team that was born when I started playing wheelchair basketball.
Meet Larry Saldier, better known by his teammates as Papa Smurf.
You can see by the games today that it's very, very competitive. And again, a lot of people think that, well, isn't that precious? People want to play basketball in wheelchairs. That's just great. Over the years, there's been a few players that come out like that, thinking that. And then they go to one practice and they go, no, that's too rough. You know, I'm gonna get hurt doing that. Well, you do. Sometimes you do get hurt.
The more involved games, they're intense. You get all caught up. You're on the edge of your seat. The hardest part is watching, like Brock, my husband, fall. You're like your heart jumps into your chest because you're scared they're gonna hurt themselves. I like watching people that on a normal basis can't get involved in a major sport, get involved and be competitive and do things that people think they can't do. I mean, you see somebody in a wheelchair and if you're not used to being around them, you're like, oh my gosh, how can they maneuver like that? How can they move that quickly? How in the heck do they get up after falling down? Getting to see people do that, it's great.
Routinely ranked in the top 20 nationally, the Tulsa Rolling Roustabouts are as competitive as they come, but realize their game is not just about winning.
With basketball, it's just one of those things to where you can see somebody start from point A and you can see them go all the way to Z. Where when he first came out, he couldn't even hold himself up in a chair. But after a couple months, you see him start to get a more authoritative and they get more of accomplishments of what they're doing. And they feel a sense of community, and with that sense of community, it makes them become better at being a person in a wheelchair, a person with a disability.
An attitude that's changed Michael Thompson's life, both on and off the court.
I got injured when I was 12, and I started playing when I was 16, but I've always loved basketball. I played in 6th grade and stuff, and just always loved it. So initially I thought that it was, that kind of my dream of playing basketball was going to be over, but once Larry approached me, and I was kind of hesitant because I thought I was like, this seems kind of different.
Michael, whose dad coaches the team, I tried for 4 years probably to get him to come out and try wheelchair basketball. He's like, yeah, I'll try sometime. A couple of years later, I seen him and his dad again, tried again. Yeah, I'll come out sometime. Never showed up. One day his mom called me at work and said, hey, Michael's going to come out to basketball practice and give it a try tonight. I said, okay, good.
It was actually kind of funny because I had told my dad, I was like, let's pretend that I have something to do. Like, let's pretend I have a meeting. That way I can only stay for like 10 minutes and I say, okay, I got to go now.
Well, Michael had already made his mind up. He wasn't gonna like it. Because when he came in the door for my benefit that night, he said, turned to his dad and said, this is like 6:30. Don't forget we got to leave at 7 to be at that meeting. So, okay, so you're not really wanting to put an effort into this. And so we started doing layups. He got hooked when we were doing a layup drill.
After I started playing, I was like, I told my dad, I was like, okay, Dad, you can go ahead and do our meeting without me. I'll catch up next time. And then I ended up staying and the whole practice and coming back out.
Before night, he didn't make his meeting. And before the night was over, he goes, what I got to do to join the team?
I really enjoyed it. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it, but I love it.
He's worked his rear off, and he's developed into one of the top players around. He is an awesome player.
With the never-quit determination that everyone on this team shares.
So, hey, life ain't over. There's still basketball, there's tennis, there's all kinds of stuff out there. When you slow it down, you'll find a different way of doing it.
Owning your own business is for many the American dream. Next time on Oklahoma Horizon, we go inside a new startup to see how that dream is being realized.
I don't think you go to any other country and you walk in, you get a good education, and then you can dream to even attempt something of this nature.
immigration and our workforce on Oklahoma Show for the Heartland, Oklahoma Horizon. Well, that is going to wrap us up for today, but you can see more of any of our stories on our website at okhorizon.com. Follow us throughout the week on Twitter at OKHorizonTV, or like us on Facebook, where we do post our weekly stories. Thanks for including us as part of your day. I'm Rob McClendon. Hope to see you back here next week.
Oklahoma Horizon is made possible by the Oklahoma Department of Career and Technology Education, with additional support from the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food, and Forestry.